It was a moment I almost missed, simple, fleeting, nothing grand to the watching world. But it changed everything. When our hands met, time stilled its rushing tide. The air curled in silence, and suddenly the noise of life dimmed like curtains drawing to reveal a stage meant only for us. I remember the warmth, not just of skin against skin, but of recognition, like our souls had waited in parallel lines too long, yearning for a point of contact. I felt your fingertips speak in a language I didn't know. I remembered, not a word was spoken, yet everything was said. My past rewrote itself in that instant, my future bent forward to meet it, and the present glowed with meaning. I could no longer walk backward from that spark. It tethered me softly, insistently, to something more than coincidence. You didn't know what you were giving me with that quiet touch, but I did. I felt the world open, and I stepped in, heart first. You smiled after, just a hint, as though you felt it too, but feared you might have imagined it. I wanted to tell you no, you weren't dreaming. It was real. It was thunder without the sound, lightning without the sky. That touch held stories neither of us had yet lived, and promises neither of us had made, but still kept. I felt centuries echo between our palms. There were lives we hadn't led, but remembered just the same. I wanted to hold your hand longer, to see what else we'd awaken. But the moments slipped, as moments do. Yet even as our fingers drifted apart, something stayed, a trace, a whisper of connection etched into the shape of memory. The place your hand had touched mine still pulsed with an invisible thread. I walked away differently, no longer alone in the world, though we were still strangers. It was a beginning, soft and bright, and I carried it, that spark, like a secret flame. After that day, I watched the world with changed eyes. People spoke and laughed, but all I heard was the echo of your silence beside me. Every time the wind grazed my skin, I remembered how your hand had done the same. There's a tenderness in remembering, but also a longing, because moments like that don't happen twice. Or so I thought. Then came the second time. And again our hands met. Not accidental. Not forced. Just inevitable. And there was that same electricity, subdued but unstoppable. Your hand held mine like it had been looking for it across 100 lifetimes. The way our fingers folded together felt less like touch and more like trust. I didn't need you to say anything. I already understood. We were writing something wordless, chapter by chapter, through every small connection. Each time our hands found each other, they told a different part of the story, one of comfort, one of courage, one of goodbye, but never of ending. Never that. I've held other hands before, casual, kind, temporary, but none of them knew how to hold me the way you did, without owning me, without smothering. Yours simply stayed, anchored me, lit the path forward. It wasn't just a hand, it was a home. I think about the way your thumb brushed mine, subtle and rhythmic, like the world's smallest promise. I'm here, I see you. I won't let go until you're ready. Do you remember the night we sat on that bench by the river, the world spinning fast around us, and we let our fingers talk while our lips stayed quiet? I do. I remember the chill in the air, the way your hand was warm despite it, and how I squeezed it tighter, not out of fear, but out of hope. Because in your hand I found steadiness. In your hand I found peace, and maybe that's the most honest kind of love, the kind that doesn't roar, but rests. Even now, years later, I can trace the memory of you like a shadow across my palm. My hand remembers how yours fit, remembers the strength and gentleness held in tandem. Sometimes I catch myself reaching for you when I'm tired, or afraid, or just lost. It's muscle memory, soul memory. There are nights I dream of nothing but your hand in mine. No words, just touch. And somehow in those dreams, everything makes sense again. The chaos of life, the noise, the heartbreaks, they fade into the background, and there's only you, only us. Only that steady beat of fingers entwined and hearts agreeing, yes, this is right. I wish I could bottle that feeling, open it on the days I forget who I am. Because when I was with you, I remembered. I was more than worry or weariness. I was someone loved, someone chosen, someone safe. There were days I watched you across a room, laughing or thinking or staring out a window, and I'd remember the feel of your hand before anything else. Strange, isn't it? How one part of a person becomes the memory we carry most, not their voice, not their face, but their touch. Maybe because hands tell the truth better than mouths do. Yours told me you were strong, but tired, brave, but wary, loving, but guarded. I understood all of it just by how you held me. And I hope, oh I hope, my hands told you something too, that you were cherished, that you were enough. That I would have held you through storms if you'd let me. I would have stayed through the silence and the noise, the joy, and the wreckage. But love is not always timing's friend, and sometimes hands must let go, even if hearts never do. We parted one day with nothing but a handshake. It felt wrong, too formal, too final. But your eyes said what your lips didn't. They said goodbye the way waves say goodbye to the shore, slowly, with pieces of themselves. Our hands lingered just a second too long, like they didn't want to accept what the mind already had. I left with your imprint, and I think you left with mine. And though we moved on, found other paths, even other hands, I believe a part of us still holds on. Quietly, secretly. That first touch, that moment when the world cracked open and something real walked through, it's not something time erases, it lives, it waits. It reminds us of who we were, when love first found us. Before the doubts, before the endings, just the beginning, pure, electric, true. Sometimes I walk alone now, down streets that don't remember our footsteps, and I wonder if you ever feel the same pull. If your hand ever closes around nothing, and remembers mine. If your skin still hums with the ghost of me. I don't believe love disappears. It just changes form. Maybe I live now as a smile, on your hardest days. Maybe you live now as warmth in my coldest ones. And though I no longer reach for you, not really, I know if our hands met again, even just once more, they'd recognize each other in an instant, without thought, without question. Because love like that doesn't forget, it simply waits for the right time, the right place, the right heartbeat, and maybe that time will come, or maybe it already did. But oh how lucky I am to have lived that first moment, when our hands met, and everything else began.